There's a dangerous lie society teaches you, that forgiving everyone makes you a good person. That no matter what someone does, you must give another chance, another opening, another opportunity for them to hurt you. But the Stoics, men of clarity, reason, and unshakable inner strength, never believed in this idea. They believed in understanding human behavior, not blindly trusting it. They believed in protecting your peace more than protecting someone else's feelings. And that's the truth you need to hear before we dive into the types of people you should never forgive. Stoicism teaches a powerful principle. Forgive for your peace, but do not forget for your protection. You see, forgiveness in the Stoic philosophy is not about the other person. It's not about making them feel better or giving them another chance to enter your life. It's about releasing the emotional weight they placed on your shoulders, the anger, the resentment, the disappointment. But once forgiven internally, the Stoics never insisted you let that person back in. In fact, they warned against it. Marcus Aurelius said that human beings repeat their nature. A liar lies again. A traitor betrays again. A selfish person chooses themselves again. People act according to their character, not according to your expectations. That is why the first step of wisdom is to see people clearly, not as you wish they were. And this is where most people break their own hearts. They forgive too fast. They trust too quickly. They let people back in too easily. And then, surprised, they suffer the same wound again, only deeper this time. But you are here because you are done repeating that cycle. You want clarity, strength, boundaries rooted in reason, not emotion. This section gives you the mental foundation the Stoics use to decide when forgiveness is healthy and when it becomes self-destruction. First, understand this. Not everyone deserves access to you. Your peace, your loyalty, your energy, your time, these are sacred gifts. When you allow the wrong person near them, they do exactly what you would expect. They damage them. Some people don't feel grateful that you forgave them. They feel empowered. They think they can get away with more. They see your compassion as weakness, your kindness as naivety. First, understand this. Not everyone deserves access to you. Your peace, your loyalty, your energy, your time, these are sacred gifts. When you allow the wrong person near them, they do exactly what you would expect. They damage them. Some people don't feel grateful that you forgave them. They feel empowered. They think they can get away with more. They see your compassion as weakness, your kindness as naivety. And that is why Stoicism teaches a simple law. A person's repeated actions reveal their true nature. Believe patterns, not apologies. The problem is that many people ignore the patterns because they want to keep someone in their life. Maybe it's someone you loved deeply. Maybe it's someone you trusted. Maybe it's someone you grew up with, and so you give forgiveness because you hope they will change. But Stoicism cuts through illusion. People do not change because you forgive them. They change because they choose to. So what is the Stoic view of forgiveness? It is internal, private, a letting go of the emotional poison. But it is also paired with a strong boundary, one that protects your soul from becoming a battlefield for someone else's chaos. You can forgive silently while still refusing to reconnect. You can release anger without reopening the door. Epictetus reminds you, protect your peace. You are responsible for your own mind. That means you are not responsible for fixing others, healing their wounds, or giving them endless opportunities to hurt you again. In fact, the most loving thing you can do for yourself, and sometimes even for them, is to walk away permanently. To say, I forgive you, but I will not grant you the privilege of harming me again. That is not cruelty. That is self-respect. And if you've ever wondered why some people hurt you more than once, here's the real reason. Because you allowed them the second chance. Because you believed words rather than behavior. Because you forgave without requiring transformation. Because you hoped instead of observed. Stoicism doesn't want you to live in hope. It wants you to live in truth. And the truth is simple. Some people are not safe for your peace, your growth, or your future. This entire video exists because you are ready to stop giving your energy to the wrong people. You are ready to understand the psychology of those who repeatedly harm others and the Stoic logic that tells you when to walk away for good. Before we go on, remember this one thing. Forgiveness is noble. Second chances are optional. Self-protection is mandatory. In the next sections, we will identify the specific types of people. Stoicism warns you against forgiving the ones whose patterns are clear, whose intentions are harmful, and whose presence will only lead you back into the same pain you've already escaped. You owe it to yourself to break the cycle. You owe it to your future peace. And the Stoics would tell you, the first person you should never forgive is the one who betrays you not once, but repeatedly, almost as if it's part of their nature. Betrayal, in the Stoic sense, is not merely about breaking trust, it is about breaking character, revealing who they truly are beneath the mask. A single betrayal can be a mistake. A second betrayal is a decision. A third betrayal is their personality. Stoicism teaches you to observe patterns because patterns reveal truth far more accurately than words or promises ever will. Marcus Aurelius reminds you that human beings behave according to their inner nature. If someone's nature is rooted in disloyalty, ego, and self-interest, they will always choose themselves, even at the cost of your peace. These people don't betray you because you're weak. They betray you because they are weak, too weak to be loyal, too weak to value trust, too weak to build something meaningful. Their disloyalty is an inward flaw, not an outward accident. And here is the danger. When you forgive a habitual betrayer, they see it not as grace, but as permission. You think you're offering compassion. They think you're offering another opportunity to deceive. Trust is like glass. Once broken, it can be repaired, but never fully restored. And if someone chooses to shatter it more than once, they are showing you exactly who they are. The Stoic response: do not hate them. Do not seek revenge. Just walk away and protect your inner world. A betrayer will always return with apologies soaked in emotion. They will blame stress, circumstances, misunderstandings, anything to hide the real truth. They had a choice, and they chose against you. Forgive them internally for your own peace, but never forget what their actions taught you. The second person you should never forgive is the one who uses your emotions as tools, your kindness as a weakness, and your loyalty as leverage. This is the emotional manipulator, the person who never apologizes sincerely, but always finds a way to make you feel guilty for their mistakes. Stoicism warns strongly about these people because manipulation is not an accident. It is a strategy. Unlike the habitual betrayer, who harms out of selfishness or weakness, the manipulator harms you intentionally, often subtly, gradually, and repeatedly. They study your heart, your triggers, your vulnerabilities, and then use them to control you. These are the people who twist reality until you're doubting your own judgment. They drain your energy, distort your thinking, and slowly make you feel like the problem. And here's the painful truth. Manipulators do not change with forgiveness. They change only when they lose access to you. They use 3 predictable tactics. 1. Guilt tripping. They make you feel responsible for their emotions, as if your boundaries are an attack and your silence is cruelty. 2. Gaslighting. They rewrite events, deny their actions, and make you question your memory, your perception, even your sanity. Playing the victim. No matter how much damage they cause, they always find a way to present themselves as the one who is wronged. Stoicism teaches you to guard your mind against external influence. Epictetus said that no one can harm your inner peace unless you give them permission. Manipulators depend on that permission. They feed on it. That's why forgiving them always leads to the same outcome. They repeat their behavior, but worse. Why? Because your forgiveness tells them their tactics are still working. It tells them they still have access to your emotions. It tells them they still control the narrative. A manipulator does not want harmony. They want dominance. They don't want understanding. They want advantage. They don't want love. They want control disguised as love. And you cannot fix them. You cannot help them. You cannot love them into becoming better people. The Stoic solution is simple and powerful. Observe their patterns. Detach emotionally. Withdraw access quietly but permanently. You will feel peace the moment they lose the ability to influence your emotions. Because once the manipulator realizes they cannot control you anymore, their power dissolves instantly. Forgive them in silence so you do not carry bitterness, but never let them near your mind again, because they will not heal it. They will only break it again more deeply than before. The third person you should never forgive is the one who never owns their actions, never admits their faults, and never accepts accountability, no matter how clearly they are in the wrong. This type is dangerous because they live in a world where they are always right and everyone else is to blame. Stoicism teaches that a person who cannot recognize their own errors is incapable of growth. How can someone change what they refuse to acknowledge? How can they repair what they deny breaking? The answer is simple. They can't. And this is why forgiving them becomes a cycle of pain that never ends. These people use excuses like shields. It wasn't my fault. You misunderstood. You're too sensitive. I didn't mean it like that. But behind every excuse is the same truth. They do not want to change. They want to escape responsibility. Marcus Aurelius said that improvement begins with seeing yourself clearly. But this person refuses to look in the mirror. They will bend the truth, twist the story, and shift blame onto anyone nearby, even the ones trying to help them. These people are trapped in their own ego, and they will drag you into that trap if you stay close. If you confront them, they become defensive. If you express your feelings, they dismiss them. If you set boundaries, they accuse you of overreacting. And if you forgive them, they'll act like nothing happened until it happens again. Forgiving someone who refuses. Responsibility is like giving medicine to someone who denies they're sick. It doesn't work. They don't take it in. They don't learn from it. And worst of all, they don't appreciate it. They simply move forward unchanged, waiting for the next opportunity to repeat the same behavior. Stoicism reminds you to focus on what you can control. And here's the truth. You cannot control their maturity, but you can control your distance. Walking away from a person who refuses accountability is not cruelty. It's clarity. It's the realization that you cannot build a healthy relationship with someone who will never admit when they are wrong. Forgive them for your peace, yes, but never keep them in your life expecting growth that will never come. The fourth person you should never forgive is not always loud, dramatic, or openly harmful. Sometimes they are subtle, quiet, someone who appears harmless on the surface, but slowly drains your energy, your motivation, and your sense of direction. Stoicism warns against people who pull you backward while you are trying to move forward. These people are energy takers, not energy givers. They do not celebrate your growth. They do not support your discipline. They do not encourage your progress. In fact, your improvement threatens them, because the moment you begin to rise, they begin to feel exposed, insecure, or inferior. So instead of lifting you up, they discourage your goals, minimize your achievements, distract you from your priorities, make you feel guilty for wanting to grow. They will say things like, "Why are you trying so hard? You've changed. You think you're better than us? You don't need to improve. Stay where you are." But the Stoic truth is this: not everyone is meant to grow with you, and some people are meant to grow away from you. Seneca warned against keeping company that weakens the mind or diminishes the spirit, because the people around you quietly shape your habits, your emotions, and your mindset. When you surround yourself with negative, stagnant, or unmotivated individuals, their energy becomes a weight tied to your progress. You may not notice it immediately, but it shows. In your discipline, in your focus, in your peace. Here's the painful realization. Some people don't need to attack you to harm you. All they need to do is slow you down. And each time you forgive their behavior, each time you overlook the subtle insults, the passive negativity, the discouraging comments, you allow them to steal a part of your momentum. Forgiving them repeatedly creates a trap. You feel responsible for their feelings, so you shrink your own potential just to make them comfortable. But Stoicism never asks you to dim your light for others. It asks you to protect your inner flame at all costs. The energy drainer is dangerous because they stop you from becoming the person you could be. They don't push you forward. They keep you stuck. And forgiveness alone doesn't change them. It only encourages the cycle. So what is the Stoic response? You distance yourself, not out of anger, but out of clarity. You choose your environment with intention. You surround yourself with people whose presence strengthens your mind, not weakens it. Forgive them, yes. Release any bitterness, yes, but never let them stay close enough to derail your growth again. Because your future requires focus. Your goals require strength. Your soul requires peace.